Hey, welcome back. Welcome. Breaking news. We finally got closings, and I read through the first page and it looks pretty good so far. Let's get this party started. I'm not going to keep you guys waiting. We can get our ducks in a row and exchange pleasantries later. In the Circuit Court of the Ninth Judicial Circuit in and for Orange County, Florida, in regards to the former marriage of Brian C. Boone, petitioner, and Sarah K. Boone, respondent. Case number, respondent's written closing argument. It's not handwritten though, it's typed. Respondent Sarah K. Boone, and in her best representation and efforts, her closing arguments in opposition of the petitioner's parenting plan, amended and support orders, and all other requests, the petitioner is attempting opposition state as follows. Okay, shout out to everybody who sent me this as well. I tell you, this isn't a one-woman show, and I love you guys so much. Boom. Now, back to the closing. To begin, the respondent, me, would like to address the section of alimony and the petitioner's motion for modification of alimony filed April 12, 2022. Respectfully, before this honorable court considers this request, the respondent, me, asks that judicial notice be taken of my pending motion for contempt filed April 11, 2023, against the petitioner, whom has willfully failed to comply with court-ordered alimony obligations by neglecting to pay ordered alimony to the respondent, me, prior to filing this petition to modify. Leave a comment below. I thought during court, Judge Jackson made it clear to her that there were no further motions for contempt on a final court hearing. She said, this is a final hearing. I will not grant any motions for contempt. This is a final hearing. Under Florida law, alimony obligations are court enforceable and cannot be ignored without consequence. And she lists the section here. Florida statutes governs the award of alimony, and when such an obligation is established, the paying spouse must comply absent modification by the court. Further section, and she lists the statute, explicitly allows for enforcement actions and contempt proceedings when alimony remains unpaid. Florida courts have consistently held that failure to pay court-ordered alimony constitutes grounds for contempt, as these obligations are not optional. They are legally binding. So Sarah is still gunning to get Brian in some legal trouble. She wants him to have a mugshot just like her. Brian and his attorney already admitted in court that she would be entitled maybe technically to the support up until the date that Brian filed to petition it. So they are not disputing that. As these obligations are not optional, they are legally binding. It is important to take note that the former husband, Brian C. Boone, was employed full-time during the entire 2 years that he did meet the I think that's a typo. She means, and he did. And he did meet the requirements of his court-ordered alimony payments. The petitioner cannot, in good faith, request a downward modification while simultaneously standing in violation of the very court order they now seek to alter. Equity demands that one must come before this court with clean hands, and the petitioner's noncompliance bars them from the relief they request until such arrears are addressed. All right, it looks like the flying donkeys the 9 representatives helped Sarah write this. So did Judge Jackson accept this, or did it just get posted? I'm just reading it like you guys for the first time. It's so ironic to hear her talk about clean hands when her hands are bloodier than everyone's. In the second portion of the petitioner's request, he asked this court to impute income to the respondent, me, for purposes of calculating child support obligations. Respectively, this is improper to do under both Florida law and authority from other jurisdictions. This issue has been addressed in Department of Revenue, and she lists the statute, where the court held that trial courts cannot impute income to an incarcerated individual, absent a showing of ability to pay. Oh, the Lamas decision aligns with persuasive authorities such as Lambert v. Lambert. And she lists the statute, where the Indiana Supreme Court concluded that imputing income to an incarcerated individual is improper because such individuals lack the present ability to earn income. Well, what happened to, do you know my work schedule? I have a job. She has a job. The respondent in this case is serving a life sentence. There is no evidence of present or future so she admits it. There is no evidence or present ability to earn income. The respondent, me, in this case, is serving a life sentence. There is no evidence of present or future ability to generate income. Florida law on child support recognizes that obligations must be based on actual ability to pay, not speculative or non-existent income. To impute income here would not only contradict established law, it would create an artificial support order that the respondent, me, has no capacity to ever be able to fulfill. With respect to the nature and purpose of child support, it is important to emphasize that child support exists for the best interest of the child, not as a punitive measure against the parent. Florida statutes establishes the child support guidelines and sets forth that child support is always designed to meet the needs of minor child. The Florida Supreme Court, the Florida Supreme Court has repeatedly underscored that the focus of child support orders must remain on the child's welfare, not on creating financial leverage between parents. Sidebar, and it is important to note that Brian was paying child support into a fund. It's still in an account, about $4,000, as well as paying her storage, commissary, phone calls, and hymnals. Oh, it's getting good. The petitioner further requests that if the respondent, me, is awarded any monetary relief, such relief should be retroactively offset against alleged back child support obligations. Respectfully, this position is legally and equitably unsound. To allow such an offset would defeat the entire purpose of child support. Child support is a vested right belonging to the child, not the parent, and Florida courts have long held that these rights cannot be waived, bargained away, or retroactively manipulated to serve the financial interest of one parent over the child. Sidebar, Brian has continued to pay child support. It's in a fund. It's in an account. So what does she mean? Is she just arguing that she shouldn't pay child support? Because Brian's fulfilled his parental obligations the entire time she's been incarcerated. Your Honor, even if this court were to accept the petitioner's request to impute income to the respondent, me, and allow any relief owed to her to be offset against alleged arrears, the account would still provide no monetary support to the minor child. Instead of benefiting the child, as Florida law requires, the result would simply, quote, call it even, yes, erasing the petitioner's arrears while simultaneously depriving the respondent, me, of funds she is legally entitled to receive. In effect, this approach would punish her for the petitioner's past noncompliance and reward the petitioner by relieving him of obligations already legally established under Florida law. The controlling principle is clear. Child support exists for the benefits of the child, not as a financial tool for either parent. And that's exactly what she's trying to use it for. To permit such an offset would shift the focus away from the child's welfare and toward the petitioner's personal gain, undermining both the purpose of child support and the equitable enforcement of court orders. For these reasons, the respondent respectfully request that this honorable court deny the petitioner's motion for a modification of alimony, deny the request to impute income, and deny this request to retroactively offset any potential relief against alleged child support obligations. Sidebar, Sarah is thinking like us. She knows that they would break even if it came down to it because she has been taking advantage of the system. But our Saint Sarah, she doesn't care about that. She wants to scrap everything Brian's done and start from zero. My Sarah Boone disorder is kicking in. Let me wipe the blood off my keyboard. We are now going into the parenting plan portion. Grab your medical snacks. Respondent, me, does not agree with the petitioner's amended parenting plan due to it not being in the best interest of the child. The respondent, me, is avidly seeking to be included in her son's life in every aspect possible and in accordance with Florida law. Respondent should not automatically have her inclusion as a parent to continue to raise, contact, and participate in his life, removed, deterred, or reduced due to incarceration. Location differences do not suffice exclusion, nor does one... Really? So you're in prison, so that should not count for anything? Essentially, you excluded yourself. Invest in the oppressed. Location differences do not suffice exclusion, nor does one unfortunate event define her, me, as a human being and mother to my son. Hunter v. Hunter. I remember Hunter v. Hunter. States the court ruled that shared parental responsibility must be honored unless proven harmful to the child. The respondent, me, is emphatically asking for this responsibility to utilize in her greatest capacities currently available, regardless of location differences, which she can finally fully be successful in and continue to enrich her son's life even more, ceaselessly upon upholding his rights as a child, even while at DOC. Department of Corrections, and in which he avidly invites and welcomes every day she is in communication with him. Sidebar, so you're in communication with him daily, and that's why Brian should have really stuck it to Sarah in court and showed that she is harmful to the child. Everything she lists says, unless proven harmful to the child. And in my opinion, she's harmful to the child. Florida statute affirms both parents have equal rights to participate in their child's life unless clear and convincing evidence proves harm to the child. The primary reason for the request of a guardian ad litem, the respondent, me, was repeatedly denied to emphatically prove there is no such evidence of harm. The child also could have reaffirmed his praise for their relationship, which he knows will grow to another positive level. It will grow once application for his visitation are finally received, where both mother and son can be reunited in person. For major decisions in the child's life, the respondent, me, should be included in his growth as a young adult, which can help shape him into being even greater, more open-minded, loving, and successful. Lamb v. Lamb. Both parents must be consulted on major decisions unless an emergency arises. The respondent's, me, mind, heart, and soul, and overall being which lives for her son still computes love, understanding, compassion, knowledge, wisdom, goodness to provide. I'm so sorry. Goodness to provide to her son's life, no matter where she is. She desperately wants to be included and has not been since her incarceration, where withholding of such redeeming qualities to their son from the respondent have been due to the petitioner's ongoing decision to alienate her. This is an incomplete sentence. Between parties, not to reward a party acting in bad faith. The respondent, me, additionally asks this court to strike or dismiss the petitioner's request as nothing more than another improper attempt to evade his obligation to pay long-standing alimony arrears. Furthermore, the petitioner has alleged that the respondent, me, is the party who has, quote, caused chaos and delayed these proceedings. Respectfully, this assertion is contradicted by the record. On April 18th, 2023, it was the petitioner himself who filed a motion for continuance, despite the fact that respondent, me, was prepared to have all pending motions heard more than 2.5 years ago. The respondent, me, firmly rejects the petitioner's baseless allegations that she is the cause of delay. Moreover, the choice to retain private counsel is just that, a choice. This is a civil matter, and no party is compelled to hire an attorney. Thus, the petitioner's voluntary decision to incur legal fees should not be shifted onto the respondent, me, particularly when he is already delinquent in meeting his court-ordered support obligations. To reward fees in this context would effectively reward the petitioner for noncompliance and penalize the respondent, me, an outcome that is wholly inconsistent with principles of equity and fairness under Florida law. Oh, Sarah. Okay, that's a lot. Sidebar. That's a lot to take in. Did Brian's attorney know about this case law that Sarah presented about an incarcerated parent can't be obligated to pay child support? Because he pretty much fought that in court and stated it as it was a fact. Ugh. Leave a comment below. Wasn't Sarah the one who held the proceedings up, essentially forcing Brian to file a continuance? The respondent, me, wishes to remind the court that the petitioner alleges to have paid for a storage unit for 2 years, but has failed to provide any evidence of this. Therefore, his request to have this deducted from any monetary relief I may be rewarded should be dismissed. For all foregoing reasons, the respondent, Sarah K. Boone, respectfully requests the court find the petitioner. Okay, that is a typo. For all foregoing reasons, the respondent, Sarah K. Boone, respectfully requests the court find the petitioner in civil contempt for violating the court-ordered payments he was ordered to pay while he was employed, and order the petitioner to pay $26,000 in alimony and $22,314 in interest payable under Florida law. We'll read that again. Find the petitioner in civil contempt for violating the court-ordered payments he was ordered to pay while he was employed, and order the petitioner to pay $26,000 in alimony and $2,314 in interest payable under Florida law. B. Deny the petitioner's request that he, quote, calls even, that imputes an income to the respondent for child support. C. Deny petitioner's proposed parenting plan and grant the respondents in place of. Respectfully submitted on this second day of September 25th, in all gratitude of this honorable court's patient, Sarah K. Boone, pro se respondent. Okay, so she has it dated for September 2nd. All of this time, Judge Jackson had us just in shambles. And so shout out to whoever said that Sarah's closing was probably under review and not posted yet. Looks like she made it. And there's a certificate of service attached, and it's handwritten. I hereby certify that a true and correct copy of the foregoing has been filed with the court by U.S. mail and sent to opposing counsel at the following address, September 2nd. And she lists Joshua Martell and Judge Jackson. Sincerely, Sarah Boone, pro se respondent. What do you guys think? I'm thinking it looks like yesterday when we went looking for Judge Jackson, banging on her door at the Florida court, she decided to just release the files. Thank you, Judge Jackson. Do you guys think Sarah got help with this? What are you thinking about the closing? It looks like to me Sarah's focused all on the money. She didn't mention the visits or the phone calls. She just mentioned the money, the alimony arrears, and she's requesting $26,000. And she mentioned that Brian didn't provide any proof for the storage facility. That was a good one. Oh, that was a good one. But he had to move the stuff out of her home. So, and there is proof, like she said, on record that Brian did get a storage, right? I'll tell you, that storage has really bothered me through this entire family law trial. I have said repeatedly on different videos, will Brian be responsible being a nice guy helping Sarah clear out her house, and now he gets no credit for that, and he might end up having to pay for it, pay for helping her? Sarah. And what about when she said this? Let me go back to this. The respondent in this case is serving a life sentence. There is no evidence of present or future ability to generate income. What happened to, excuse me, everyone's forgetting that I have a successful appeal and I should be treated just like the other parent. This is our first time pillaging through Sarah's closing, and I'm just skimming back. What stood out to me is, did Brian's attorney know about this Lamas versus Lamas it was? Let's see. This here. In the second portion of the petitioner's request, he asked this court to impute income to the respondent, me, for purposes of calculating child support obligations. Respectfully, this is improper to do under both Florida law and authority from other jurisdictions. This issue has been addressed in Department of Revenue, where the court held the trial courts cannot impute income to an incarcerated individual absent of showing the ability to pay. The Lamas' decision aligns with persuasive authorities such as Lambert v. Lambert, where the Indiana Supreme Court concluded that imputing income to an incarcerated individual is improper because such individuals lack the present ability to earn income. Did Brian's attorney know that? And to my Florida people, this is blowing my mind. So there would be no offset breaking to zero, as she later argues, if this is true, right? So what do we got? We have the phone calls, the $600 a month. I'm trying to calculate. All of my mathematician people, what do we have? If we can't calculate the offset from child support that she may owe, We're just banking on Brian's calls that he paid for, the $600 monthly. And is there any proof of that? Sarah's getting a little surgical here. Oh, I knew Brian should have slammed the hammer down on her. In court, he should have showed how much of a danger she was to the child. But Judge Jackson will know that, right? I'm going to need a honey bun. Hold on.
You do realize you are under oath.
That's when you take the baseball bat that's in evidence, and your testimony is to start poking him with the end of it.
Did you say this was the second video?
Between the two videos, that's when you started hitting with the bat because he was getting angry and trying to escape, correct?
Right, I was not hitting him, yes.
Okay. Did you ever hit him with the bat while he was outside of the suitcase?
No.
So each time that he is hit with the bat, it's through this suitcase. And that's what leaves the marks on him, because you didn't hit him with the bat outside of the suitcase, correct?
Yes, if you'd like me to demonstrate.
No, that's okay. The suitcase will speak for itself. And then you take the second video and you go upstairs and go to bed, correct?
I apparently went upstairs and I used the phone to make a phone call.
Okay.
And then I fell asleep.
All right. And at the point in time when you left and went upstairs, he was still inside the suitcase, correct?
Correct.
Was he still asking for you and calling your name?
Not that I can recall.
Did you say shh to him again?
I don't remember.
Did you tell him that this was his problem and it's on you again?
I don't remember.
Did you do anything to help him escape from the predicament that you zipped him up in?
No.
No other questions?
Any redirect examination?
Ms. Boone, he just asked you the question that you poked him and you didn't poke it. You poked, every time you poked him hard with the bat, he was inside the briefcase.
The suitcase, yes.
The suitcase. But you remember when he put his hand out, did you not hit him in the hand outside the suitcase?
Yes.
Okay. So that was the only time the bat touched Mr. Torres's body outside the suitcase.
Yes.
Was when you hit him with a hand. But all the other injuries were with you poking him pretty hard. I mean, you bruised your hand, correct? Doing that. Thank you.
If you made it this far, you know I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye. Respondent, me, request the court to compel petitioner, former husband, to 1. Provide reasons for his underemployment for over 3 years to present with having the ability to work, and explain to the court how it is not deliberate. 2. Explain to the court his livelihood income while, quote, unemployed and supporting the minor child for over 3 years, ongoing, futuristically. 3. Present any evidence of permission given by the court to reduce and terminate his obligations of alimony payments to the respondent, me. So she's saying that he has to have some sort of paperwork or documents from the court relieving him of his obligations. Oh, Sarah. 4. Specify the single reason for modification and why it was not determined and continued throughout the process of this matter to lawfully allow respondent, me, to correctly identify and respond to her rightful defense. In addition, respondent, me, respectfully request sanction petitioner, former husband, and his counsel for their willful violations of the court's orders of alimony payments to the respondent, me, with active agreements and undermining its authority of consequences for their ongoing non-compliance. Now, I don't know about Kim and Eli, but inmate Boone isn't a nice person. Is it the toilet wine or the isolation that is making her... No, I take it back. She's always been a nasty person, right? Well, in my opinion, to do what she did to George, to do what she did to his family, to do what she's doing to her former husband and son, it's just nasty. And there are people, her fans around the world, stars on the map. Don't forget to put where you're watching from so that I can add stars to our map all around the world. Those people are supporting her. They're telling her that she's right. We saw on the messages where they kind of created a bubble where she thought that she was just going to beat this thing and walk free, to the point where she rejected a sweetheart deal. And where are the Delphines? I thought the Delphines were helping her with her family court case. They were supposed to get her an attorney. Does anyone know? Let me know below. Futuristically, Sarah goes on to say, enforce original alimony obligation regardless of respondents, me, current circumstances, and order petitioner, former husband, to pay $62,000 in parentheses as well, in case the judge was confused. She made sure she wrote it out and put it in parentheses, as estimated and calculated minus appropriate cost deemed just and ordered by the court. 62 months times 1,000 ordered payments per month. Hold petitioner accountable for interest accrued and arrears as a matter of equity, law, and appropriate authority, calculated as follows per Florida law. Now, if you made it this far, thanks for having a Dr. Pepper with me. Which one are you choosing? I went with cream soda. I'm waiting to open it when we get the final word from Judge Jackson. Leave me a trophy in the comment section just so I can know you made it this far. Shout out to all of my subscribers, my new straight A students, the mods, everybody. I love you guys, and we are still docket watching. Say hey, welcome back.
Hey, what the bag? Not the dog.
I do not feel that it is right for me to have a 30-minute phone call with my son, when I'm trying to do everything that I can to be in his life in every way, shape, and form that I possibly can, from having people in Australia purchase him a record. Anything that I can possibly do to go out of my way to do, I've been doing for him. So he remembers and knows that I am in his life, and I am his mother, and I am doing everything I possibly can to stay that way, regardless of the petitioner and his counsel's attempts to deter me from being part of that. I try to communicate with the petitioner in regards to my son. I've been continuously excluded. There is no communication. I don't know what else it is that I can possibly do that I haven't tried to already. And a lot of these too, I would like to remind everyone, these could have been solidified where they have had the meeting of attorneys and unrepresented parties meeting. A lot of this could have been had and resolved and narrowed if we were going to have that meeting in regards to all of this. Nonetheless, if the petitioner would have answered a phone call or a tablet message, it's not fair to me that just because I'm here, it doesn't justify how I've been treated and excluded with this. I would like to continue to have the regular phone calls and interaction with my son, which I have been doing, and all of a sudden now is being tried to be taken away from me out of spite, as opposed to my son and his growth and him moving properly and appropriately and lovingly forward with his mother. And I would very much like, please, after 9 months of asking for my son to please come see me, which is only 50 minutes away, which I think will change both of our lives, with finally being able to see